Along with neoliberal economic policies, the realignment with the U.S. government appears to be one of the cornerstones of Mauricio Macri's foreign policy. A trip made by the security minister to Washington, D.C. to reach a deal between the Macri administration and U.S. federal forces has caused concern amongst critics, including social movements, investigative journalists, and academics.
We need to be aware that the war on drugs is a pretext used by the US to bring their military to other countries, just as they did in Colombia and Mexico. What nobody says is that between 2006 and 2012, there has been 120,000 deaths in Mexico.
According to a communique by the Security Ministry, the priorities of the Argentine government are to reinforce cooperation in criminal intelligence and to reach an agreement with the FBI's National Academy to train local forces. But some of the country's experts on foreign policy remain skeptical about such agreements.
We know that since 1970s, during Nixon's presidency, the strategy of war on drugs was implemented. That strategy involved the militarization of efforts against drug trafficking, and which brought a real disaster, especially in Central America and in all the countries that applied those U.S.-based policies.
Experts agree that the case of indigenous leader and political prisoner Milagro is related to this topic, since the Macri administration has tried to establish the idea that the northwest border of the country, where SALA'S Tupac Amaru movement is considerably strong, is a drug trafficking hotspot.
We need to assume that their intention is to include Argentina in the so-called war on drugs, not to fight drug cartels, but to take drug trafficking as a pretext to repress the people, to militarize the region, and to favor the entry of militarized U.S. forces to our country.
The fragments of Macri's campaign speeches when he used to talk about the importance of developing the northwest region of the country could have a very different meaning under the current developments. Laureano Ponce, Telesur, Buenos Aires.